Okay.
All right. The movie this week was from 2013 called Her, described as a science fiction romantic comedy drama. Written, directed, and co-produced by Spike Jonze. And Wikipedia says it was Jonze's first solo screenwriting effort. I guess he'd been a co-writer. It doesn't say what he co-wrote, but it was a solo writer on that. Her received widespread critical acclaim, especially for the performances of Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. And Jones' screenplay and direction successfully grossed over 48 million worldwide with a production budget of 23 million. And at the 86th, the Academy Awards, Her received 5 nominations. The only win was for Best Screenplay. But he also won Best Original Screenplay at the Golden Globes, the Writers Guild of America Awards, and the Critics' Choice Award. And I picked this movie because I went back and looked at movies that the original screenplays had won Oscars and movies that I had not seen. And so this one was one that I had not seen. And I wanted to see, what the screenplay was all about. I assumed what little I knew about it, it was going to be heavy with the 2 characters, one real and one artificial, and how that dialogue turned into a storyline. And I was also curious to see how well it played 10, 12 years after, we're 12 years after 2013. And I think I read that he had seen something about this as far back as 2000 and started to put this together as a movie, maybe even as a short, and then it went into full production. But it was successful, and I was fascinated by the thing that intrigued me was a movie about a person who makes a living writing letters on behalf of other people. Meanwhile, he's writing fake letters to real people. Meanwhile, he's in a romantic relationship with a fake entity. And I don't know if the movie would have played well if he'd have been a plumber or a dentist, or if the artificial intelligence, the operating system, had been substituted by a real person. I mean, would it have worked just as a rom-com? But the fact that his work either paralleled or conflicted with what he found in companionship, I thought was just an interesting juxtaposition. So I enjoyed it. I have a lot of questions about, what you guys thought, and including, did you think it mattered what he did for a living? And do you think it mattered that after a while, did you just think of her as a companion, or were you always in the back of your mind thinking, she's not real?
I think his occupation was perfectly middle of the road. I mean, it wasn't a trade. And I think that would have had a whole bunch of different ramifications if it was a manufacturing person or laborer, or if it was a science person. I didn't get that he was particularly any sort of science person. So I think he's just a guy. And I don't think it mattered, but I think it mattered that he was in that strata of occupations that's really doesn't have a definition.
Well, he was in the word business,
Right.
creating emotions for other people with his words. And then basically the operating system was nothing but a word system responding to him. So,
well, and we thought it was just him. It turns out it's 8,631 other people at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought
Had you seen it before, Donna?
Yeah, I had seen it. Actually, I liked it better this time than the first time. And maybe because of where we are today with, AI. So when his job, I think, he got to be emotionally involved with all these people. If you remember, he was with all these people when they were 12 years old and when he graduated college, and all these people that he's gone through all these emotional things with them and writes, letters about them. I mean, he has the emotions of the people. So they're not his emotions, but he kind of creates it in his own life. Then when he gets with but in his own life, at least I thought he was not able to handle his emotions at all. That's why he and Catherine broke up. He couldn't handle the emotions and what was going on with her. And then I thought, well, this OS system actually allowed him to actually recognize his emotions. And what I really liked is that as the AI was evolving, which it continually evolves and evolves and evolves, so was he. And he seemed to be evolving so much more the more he was with Samantha. So I really liked the relationship between the two of them. And there was, and I don't know where I got this little saying that I've said for years, and I don't know who said it or where I heard it, but I remember someone said, "We are molded and remolded by those who have loved us." And I thought, and it just came back to me that that's exactly, is that we are molded by the people that love us from the time we're children and beyond. And that that emotions are something that are real only if you are authentic with them, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was I thought it was better than when I first saw it. I'll tell you what drove, though. When did the future have men looking like Todd from Lisa Lupner's you remember Bill Murray, and I mean those high-waisted pants every man was wearing? It was making me ill. They were
I noticed
awful.
that too.
They were awful. I was like, really? Is that? And then the other thing that drove me crazy is, excuse me, why is there a safety pin on his shirt pocket to keep, the computer looking out?
Mhm.
In the future, when they have figured out shirts that had a second pocket so you can put your computer in, I mean, it was just like that drove me crazy. And I loved the funny parts. I loved I thought Amy Adams did a great job. I thought, and Rooney Mara did a really good job too, because that was not an easy one. So I enjoyed it. I really thought it made you think about how you evolve and how your emotional life evolves. So that's what, and I liked it. Yeah. Thank you, Jared. It was a good pick.
But do you think he was better off by going through that, even though they parted ways and she out-evolved him?
Yeah, I absolutely do. Because at the end of it, remember, she said that when she was going on, she said something like, "I've learned how to love." He said, I can't remember exactly. The exact quote was basically saying that we knew how to love better. She evolved, he evolved. Yes, and I think he did know now how he had to be in order to have an emotional relationship with a real person. I mean, that's what I thought anyway. So yes, I do believe that he
She
was
knew how
much
to
better
love
off.
better. She loved 641 people or something.
Yeah, well,
Jeez.
hey, but love is love.
Well, artificial intelligence is just a conglomeration of disparate things that are brought together as a whole and are drawn from all sorts of different personalities. So she was able to process things and turn things around. So she could be having the same conversation with 6,000 or 8,000 people effortlessly, and using the right words based on what they were saying.
Exactly. Yeah. So she responding to, yeah.
I've dated women like that.
Hey, Gary, I didn't go through Wikipedia or any background on the movie, did they use the term AI?
Well, no, it was just an operating system. Yeah, I don't remember
that's a
them
good
using
question.
AI.
I'd have to go back and look at
I didn't know
trailers.
if that was an incantation that came in the 2020s or.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, in the movie,
Yeah.
they just refer to it as operating system over and over
Oh,
again.
yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. I'll go back and look.
It was essentially the same thing, though. It was
Yeah.
a machine learning thing that was going on.
Yeah.
They just didn't have a word for it at that time. So they called it operating system.
Yeah.
So his job was essentially what AI has become. You know,
His job?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you could get a chat bot to write love letters for you now.
Now you could, yeah.
He's out of a
So
job.
his
Yeah.
job is being
I wonder
taken over by her. Yeah.
how much of that they knew going into the movie, where they were going with it. I think they probably did a lot of research.
When was this movie made?
13, he was released in 13, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think there was some sort of short version of it where there was a different actress and they replaced the voice of Scarlett, the original voice, and brought in Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Um,
I did read that. She did the whole movie and they replaced every sound of dialogue.
That'd
really.
be a pretty easy edit, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But still.
Today,
Who
you
was the
could just-
original one? Do you know? Anybody know?
Well, her name's in the Wikipedia. It's not a name I recognized.
Yeah. I don't know.
Today you could just get the AI stuff to do all the substitution for you, so you didn't even have to edit it. Just change the voice.
Yeah.
I was taken by the fact I had seen this before and I'd forgotten that he was writing letters. And I was taken by that because that's old fashioned all by itself,
Right.
writing a letter and then taking a human to sit down and do it. And he seemed to be fairly good at it. And it seemed to give him a better understanding of people. And so I saw it from a whole different point of view then, and really liked that part of it. He ended up having a book come out and all this kind of stuff. Of course, that he wasn't so happy about all that. But,
And I love that she took it on to put all those letters in a book and send
Right.
it to a publisher. I mean, you know, yeah, he would have never done that on his own, but
Yeah.
you
Kind
He
of wondered
lived in-
about the privacy considerations about doing that. I mean, they
know,
maybe
say that again, Jeff.
I wonder
I'm
if
sorry.
they had some. I was kind of wondering about the privacy consideration of sending all these intimate letters out as a book. Although I guess
Yeah.
they didn't have the person's specific name in there, they might have gotten that book and said, "What the? This is the letter that I got. What's going on here? I thought this was original from Sam."
Yeah, that
you
could have.
know? Yeah,
I didn't think of that, but you're right. That could have. There'd be a lot of
this
lawsuits.
letter looks really familiar.
Yeah.
The,
I thought I burned that in the fireplace
My
a long time
husband
ago.
wrote me this letter.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it says about Jeff and me that he thought some privacy issue. I thought, wait a minute, he writes these letters in an office where he works for somebody. Those may not be his letters.
Yeah,
They may be the Acme letter writing company's letters, and he has no business selling them again.
Oh,
That's what I
another
wondered.
good point.
intellectual
Yeah.
property.
How could he take
Yeah.
work
Oh, you
product and
legal
make it his
eagles.
own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
Well-
every once in a while you got to go, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Poetic license. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, what about when Mrs. Jones reads the letter that she thought her husband?
Had written it. Yeah. The moving letter. Yes.
You go, oh, what the heck?
I
Yeah.
thought this movie spoke to trust a lot. So
To what?
to trust, what was it about OS1 that attracted him to it? She was very responsive to him. She was almost one step ahead of him most of the time. She was encyclopedic in her ability to respond, but she was gentle about it. She was kind, and she was, she analyzed it and figured out that he had sexual desires and what might she do to satisfy that, et cetera, et cetera. And so he thought of her in a very human way and in a dyad way. She was thinking that way, but for many multiple dyads, and really had no investment in the relationships whatsoever, which made it very easy for her to run off with the other operating systems at some point and just, you know, be gone. I think I did teach him the lesson that I'm human. I better stick with humans. And I think somebody else said it taught him how to care about another person. But I think that trusting stuff was very interesting. I also liked this guy a lot because he
Oh, yeah.
produced
Fuckface.
he had to swear back at him before he'd say, okay, come on, you know. And actually Samantha told him, you know, just challenge the guy. He's gonna give in. Just go ahead and do it. So pretty interesting twist on human relations and how easy they are to fake sometimes.
How about a, how
Well,
about a
that's it.
double
Yeah, if you
date
can fake
with your
sincerity, you've
OS?
got it made. Yeah.
About what, Mike?
That double date with your operating system.
Oh yeah.
Was that weird?
It was weird.
Well, you talked about how, you know, she responded quickly. She seemed to know almost before it was said the right thing to say. And would the movie or his experience been the same if the voice had been that of Edith Bunker instead of Scarlett Johansson?
I'll talk to you later. Yeah.
Yeah. Tonally, it was a very appealing voice, and I think there's some versions of
Yeah.
AI that tried to use Scarlett Johansson, or one of them tried to buy her voice, and
Yeah, she said no.
and she went no.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, she was
Well,
in
she sued
Lucy
him,
the
too.
next year after this.
Yeah.
Which was also kind of an AI movie, except it was brain function boosting drugs. But I thought it was very interesting that she was involved in these two movies in 2 years, because they did have some real similarities. That was her gig at the time, I guess.
Yeah, and there was no, unless I blinked, there was no real porn. I mean, there was some nudity, but the sex was all ear sex.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It was oral sex. Oh, sorry.
AURL.
Oral, yeah,
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
oral.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
It spoke to me.
Oh,
Touche.
man.
That's all it did. So that her name was Samantha Morton, the lady who originally was Samantha.
Hmm.
And I'm kind of looking at her filmography, and I don't see a lot really.
So they took her name, but they didn't want her voice, huh?
Huh.
You know what? I think that is what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, she was in The Walking Dead.
What did you know, a lot of the movie is based on looking at a guy in kind of almost futuristic cityscapes, landscapes. Did that distract, or did that seem appropriate, or did that seem
No, I
fun?
thought it seemed appropriate. It's the near future, and I was talking with Patty about it, and like what did they do there? And I looked it up. The setting was supposed to be LA, and it was to a certain extent, but I think they said more of the shots were in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Make it look futuristic. That was one of
Mhm.
the others was like what Jeff has in his background, But I thought that added to it, that it was sometime in the future. You knew that.
It was a
How about-
crazy clean subway.
Yeah.
One I've got
Yes,
is
the
a,
bullet train. Yeah.
looking down on the city from above. And it kind of reminded me of when you open up a computer and you look at all the moving parts that are in it and they're all lined
Ah.
up for you.
Looks like chips.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. What did I write down?
So
I
is
think it
anybody,
neutralized the movie, that it didn't tag you to a specific location, but it was more a mood of the time. It was
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was just sort of the canvas that he painted the movie on. Yeah. So did you ever, throughout the movie, I kept going, I can't believe anybody would ever do this. I can't believe anybody would fall for this. Or did you have to suspend?
They're out buying some strawberries and stuff.
Yeah.
Mom, she's with him.
Nobody's ever
Um,
this.
Anyway,
Unusual.
did you think to yourself, I would never do that? Or, that might be interesting.
see, now see, I thought, that might be interesting, but I think they kind of do that now. I mean, you can Zoom psychiatrists now, right? You can do anything online. I mean, what I liked about that relationship was that he was not good with real people. And the reason why he wasn't good with real people is because he hid his emotions. He would not say something when he was feeling it or whatever. At least that's what his ex-wife said. Wasn't, and she wasn't really good emotionally either. So between the two of them, they were not connecting. Where when you're talking to a machine, you don't have any qualms about hurting its feelings, not saying what you really want to say, all those things that are, hard to do initially. When you first meet someone, you're always on your, on your best behavior. But with the machine, you don't have to be. You can be exactly yourself. And that's what I liked about it. He was able to open up with her where he couldn't with other people. And then I think as it went along, he got better. He got better at being a kind of person that would be his own self and not be so so depressed, I guess.
But when he put words to paper, he was a champion of expressing
Yes,
emotion.
other people's emotions though, but not his own. I think that's what the thing was. So he could, I mean, I love that he was, when it first opens up, you think that he's talking to someone, face to face. And then when you realize he's just dictating a letter to someone that he's getting paid to do this, it's kind of shocking because he's faking sincerity so well. So that's what I liked about it. I think he evolved as Samantha was evolving, so was he emotionally. And of course he gets, as he's getting more involved emotionally with Samantha, when he realizes that she's a multi AI person, it has all these things that she's doing simultaneously. I think that, that crushed him, but overall, I think he just came out the better person at the end of it.
So,
Jeff, remember you going to say something?
does anybody? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just thought, I mean, I enjoyed the movie and I thought it was interesting, but I thought it was really sad. I mean, not any of the relationships worked out. I mean, I guess the friendship between the Joaquin Phoenix character and the Amy Adams character, but all of the romantic relationships were just garbage. I kept expecting one of the other characters to have the same operating system,
I know.
Samantha as he did, and then that would have been, a big catastrophe. But instead, she's got 8,000. I mean, that was beyond what I was anticipating. But
Did the movie leave you with thinking that maybe what he had learned about himself made it possible for he and his wife to have any sort of future?
I didn't think so. No, I'm not sure he grew at all, actually. I mean,
What I want to know is how did they monetize Samantha?
Was she a subscription service?
How could you just have all that stuff going on there and not, I mean, that's very insensitive in a way, but knowing how things are, to just have something like that was free.
Another one of those, it's a movie things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like when he says print on the letter, I'm thinking, well, isn't somebody going to know if all their letters are mailed from LA?
They got a service that sends it to the
Local
the
post
city of
office?
origin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had to pay for it. Weren't they asking him questions at the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it was a, yeah, I think it was a subscription service,
yeah.
you know.
I missed it, I guess.
We do have Alexa now,
That's right.
kind of similar. Where we have, and I guess you can get whatever voice you want, right? Or does it
Yeah.
have to be Alexa? Can it
Do
be
you
Yeah.
have to call it Alexa? Could you call it
Yeah, you
Samantha?
do have to call it, and I'm not going to say it because she'll answer. But yeah, you have to call it.
Alexa!
Now we don't want to talk to her.
Wake up.
Tell us how great the movie was.
Alexa,
Oh,
play
Yeah, I should
Bluebird.
ask her what she thinks.
On 3.
But yeah, you can have any voice, and you can ask her to tell you a joke. You can ask her to, it's not like having a person, but it's
Has anybody
she's
dealt
there,
with?
and sometimes she's listening, and I don't realize she's listening. But she'll say,
Oh,
"Oh, I don't
she's
know that
listening.
one."
Hey, she
Yeah.
might be listening all the time.
Well,
Sarah?
I usually turn that. There's a little microphone. I just have the Echo Dot, which is like a little tiny speaker, but it has a little microphone icon on it. So I usually turn that off, but sometimes I don't.
It's never off,
Um,
right?
Yeah, but when I don't turn it off, that I can always yell, "Put this on the grocery list, to do this, remind me to do that, send a timer for this." I mean, I like her.
And
She's
then
my
you start
new
getting
best
ads
friend.
for those
Yeah.
things, right? You
Pardon
start
me?
getting advertisements for those things.
No ads, no nothing.
Has
Thank
anybody
goodness.
dealt with the Chat GPT? Done any sort of artificial intelligence work of any kind?
Well, I've never done work, but I've used it, of course. I mean, because I thought it was so interesting, so I just asked it different things, just see
I
what
used it. I used it for this. I took
Yeah.
the transcript of this and asked her to, synopsize it in, I don't know, 1,000 words back when we were doing minutes, and I just sent
Yeah.
it back out.
Does
Yeah.
anyone else have AI companion at the bottom of their Zoom screen?
On Zoom?
Yeah.
That's a new thing with the Zoom system, the Zoom.
Oh
what is it
yeah,
called?
AI. Oh, I think it just summarizes everything. Isn't that what it does?
As
Or
we go?
if you have questions as you're working and having a meeting, it may give you some assistance there.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Theodore.
Hello, Hal.
It says,
What are you doing, Hal?
Open the door.
summary or ask meeting questions. Ask host to start meeting questions.
Spike Jonze is kind of an interesting guy. I mean, shoot.
Such a weird name. When I think of Spike Jonze, and maybe
Oh.
you guys
You want me to start
think of,
asking questions?
The old music personality, radio personality.
yeah, the one with the squeaks and the meeting
Is that you, Gary?
questions is on.
Yeah.
Must be.
What's that?
Meeting
This pop-up
questions
that I
is
just
on.
had,
Yeah.
meeting questions
Yeah.
is on.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just seeing what the AI companion was doing.
Yeah.
I never
I have at
noticed
the
it
top-
before.
I have the top of my thing. It's also being transcribed for AI companion. So
Oh.
as we're speaking, the meeting is being transcribed.
Gosh.
Mine's
Uh-oh.
taking a smoke over in the corner.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I showed that this Spike Jonze guy, he's only done 4 movies, but they're all 4 are pretty good movies.
Do the right thing and
No, that's Spike Lee.
oh, I'm sorry. God.
Yeah.
John Malkovich, adaptation, Where the Wild Things Are, and Her. But he's also like a producer or something for Jackass.
Yeah.
You guys should watch that. I didn't ever watch it. I mean, I might have watched bits of it and stuff.
There's a feather in your cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
You
Good.
don't
I'm always
Okay.
curious if
start and don't ask your kids.
Okay.
the boomers on this meeting have a different take on this movie than what gen are you, Jeff? LMQ?
I'm
Yeah.
supposedly in the last year of Boomer.
Oh, you
You're
are?
a Gen Z?
No, he's
It's
Oh,
63,
you're
so
a
that's
boomer? No.
yeah,
When were you born?
63.
Oh, you are.
You're
Wow. Oh my. Well, that
Sanders,
seems
you had seen this
strange.
before?
Yeah, I remember watching it when I lived in Vancouver.
All right. Well, if we've exhausted the themes and the ideas, we could.
Well, what did you think, Gare?
Yeah, wrap it up, Gary.
Well, I thought it satisfied what I was looking for. I wanted to watch a movie that was unique script, not anything like it before, in something that's fairly modern and we're still coming to grips with it. And I was curious how they handled it 10 years ago to see how it plays out now. I mean, I know I don't have a AI companion, but I throw a lot of stuff at Chat GPT and have them rewrite things for me. I've sent
Yeah.
them half-baked song lyrics and had them come back with a completed song.
Oh, cool.
So
Very nice.
that's
You and Theo were playing the ukulele.
yeah.
Thanks for picking it.
So what I did, it was of interest to me because I recognize that Hollywood is built around stars, but without screenwriting or adapted screenplays there's nothing. There's no, and if you can have all the stars in the world, but if you have a flat story, you don't have anything. Or you can have mediocre actors, but if you've got a interesting script, I'll take an interesting script over an interesting actor any day. So
Mhm.
I was looking for award-winning screenplay movies, and this one I thought it was good and interesting. And I've already told you before, I think Joaquin Phoenix is a brilliant actor, and it
Yeah.
doesn't hurt that Scarlett Johansson's voice was in my head for a couple of hours.
So is Chat GPT, is that what it is? Chat GPT?
Uh-huh.
Is that an
Yeah,
app
Chat
that
GPT.
do you download it or how do you use that?
Yeah, it's an app, or it's just a website where you can go
Yeah, just a website. Yeah.
and you can just go and ask questions of
Anything.
simple things. I'm planning a date. For somebody who likes lamb, how should I make dinner to show off my lamb recipe? I mean, you can ask it
Right.
just about anything
My tablet comes with it.
with Chat GPT.
Not, it's whatever Microsoft's version is.
There's one, I think Google's is called, was it Gemini?
Yeah, I think yeah. There's a number of them. There's about 8 or 9 of different ones now.
Yeah. And then what is it? NVIDIA.
Yeah, NVIDIA's a stock. Oh, boy, it's done phenomenally well.
Right. And I don't know exactly where they are on the AI landscape, but they've carved out quite a piece of land
Well,
for
they're
themselves.
the ones that have the pieces that the
Make the
AI
chips.
requires. And
They're the beating heart.
yeah.
There were graphics chips originally, but they had such high speed and processing capabilities that they were perfect to move into. Before that, they were used for Bitcoin mining, but this is what made them take off.
Once
Yeah.
people started doing large language models, they needed more computing power, and that's where they came in. They were a gaming chip. You're right.
And maybe that's how he paid for this, was with Bitcoin, That's how he got his operating system.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Do you have a scene that made you squirm, or a scene that you really liked?
What do I have?
I like that scene that Jeff had behind him
Yeah.
where they're playing the
Yeah,
game.
that little guy.
Yeah.
That little guy was
They're
so
battling like this.
yeah.
That was good.
Like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a quote and I just questioned it. I just thought, is this the past is just a story we tell ourselves. It's like,
Did you make that up?
Is that true?
Chat GPT.
Well, I mean, I do think we adjust the past to kind of make us.
Suit our recollection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a story we tell ourselves, but it's different every time we hear it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
We on to Chris?